Can you please get him off the ground? Why are you on?
What did the student do wrong? Nothing, as it turns out. We have his chilling story.
And this woman may be finally getting her day with the chancellor, the latest on Mary Willingham and our athletic scandal.
No, it's not spring football practice. You could call it final exams for Carolina football players.
Carolina Week
starts right now.
From the UNC School of Journalism and Mass Communication, covering Carolina in HD, this is Carolina Week.
Imagine you're walking to your car with friends on a weekend night. Suddenly you're stopped by police and thrown to the ground. Good evening, I'm Delia D'Ambra.
And I'm Stephanie Lopez. Thrown to the ground for no reason, and the police won't tell you anything. It happened to one Chapel Hill student.
Can you get him off the
Now,
ground?
this is a little bit difficult to see, but what you're looking at is cell phone video of a UNC student being detained by Carrboro police.
Can you please get him off the ground?
Talib Cochran is a senior from Raleigh, North Carolina. He said he was walking down North Greensboro Street in Carrboro when police stopped him and asked him to show his hands.
He never communicated clearly why he was stopping me.
Cochran says he showed the officer his hands and then told the officer he was going to put them back in his pockets to keep them warm. That's when Cochran says police restrained him.
One officer had, an arm, the other one grabbed my other arm, hit me from behind the back of my legs and forced me to the ground, face first into the concrete, and immediately, put the handcuffs on me.
He says the situation was humiliating.
I had snot running down my nose, down my face, and I couldn't wipe it or anything because I was laying on the ground, my hands behind my back.
Cochran says police made him lie right here with his hands behind his back for 15 minutes before being released. When they released him, he started recording.
Here's some of the footage he captured on his phone.
I wanted each and every officer's name and badge number. I'm asking for confirmation. Officer Deshay, can I get your name as well? Y'all gonna walk away from me after putting me in handcuffs?
Don't stand in the street.
Cochran says he and his friends met with Carrboro police and filed a complaint after the incident. He says Carrboro police told him there was miscommunication between police officers on dispatch, asking officers to look for a black male wearing a dark jacket and tan pants instead of a white male with the same description. Cochran says the situation has led him and his friends to lose some trust in police.
We feel kind of intimidated and afraid of them, and it shouldn't be that way. We should look to them for help.
We contacted Carrboro police. Captain Chris Atack told us the case is still under investigation and had no further comment. You probably got an alert, Carolina, about it last night. The man authorities wanted for an assault on campus is in custody tonight. 52-year-old Ricky Donnell White. Police say he forced a woman into a music room in Hill Hall. The woman got away and no one was injured. Donnell is being charged with second-degree kidnapping, trespassing, and assault.
You undoubtedly heard about that Alert Carolina message that put the campus on lockdown this weekend. The man at the center of all that is accused of threatening a student with knives. 31-year-old Jesse Allen Kister remains in UNC hospitals tonight. Authorities say he's in the hospital for psychiatric evaluation and will be charged after he's released. Turns out Kister's no stranger to the university. Kister has a bachelor's degree and 2 masters from UNC. Well, it took a while, but it looks like it's finally going to happen. Chancellor Folt has agreed to meet with Mary Willingham, the woman behind the latest academic charges swirling around Carolina athletics.
It's been 3 months since Mary Willingham released her research suggesting UNC admitted and graduated illiterate athletes. In that time, neither Chancellor Carol Folt, Provost Jim Dean, nor anyone else in the administration has spoken with Willingham, something she had found disturbing.
It makes me really sad that we're at a university where we don't really have an open door policy, where people at the very top don't seem to want to mix with those of us at ground zero who really do the work.
But then things began to change. In an email on Monday after our interview, Willingham tried once again to get a response from Chancellor Folt. Chancellor Folt, our amazing students ask me each and every day if I have met with you yet. Please let me know when you are available. Mary. The next day, Folt's assistant, Anna Rose Medley, responded. Mary, Chancellor Folt asked that I email you to thank you for your invitation to meet. The email goes on. She asked that I remind you she will be unable to discuss the pending grievance you have with the university, as she will be the final adjudicator in that matter. Willingham says she thinks communicating directly with administrators could help matters here at Carolina and with the issue of academics and athletics across the country. At least it might begin to answer some questions. Lewis Clark is president of the Government Accountability Project. In a telephone interview, he voiced his concerns about how the university is handling Willingham's research review and how she is being treated.
We're disappointed. We think that if there's an independent review happening, then they should be transparent and tell us what that independent review is all about and how is it independent and how it's going to be conducted, and just fairly simple transparency would be helpful.
Clark was quoted in an Associated Press article charging that the university has broken state law in its treatment of Willingham.
There's a question here as to the law, and the North Carolina law says that I'm protected from harassment and retaliation.
Protection Willingham says the university should provide.
I think the administration would do us all a favor to say, let's all get together and sit down around this table and let's stay here and until we really get the truth on the table, and let's make a pact that no one will be retaliated against or harassed for telling the truth.
There's finally a decision tonight in the case of that Chi Phi suspension.
That fraternity faced losing its charter for what university officials called new member activity, better known as hazing. Landon Dowdy is standing by live with more. Landon, we understand the UNC Board of Trustees was taking up the issue of fraternities today.
That's right, Stephanie. I'm outside of the Board of Trustees meeting, and you might recognize this White House behind me, the White House on the Hill, or the Chi Phi fraternity. Now, they aren't talking specifically about Chi Phi in the meeting, but they're talking about the concerns and the risk that the fraternities and sororities have on the university going forward. The Chi Phi National Office suspended its UNC chapter, placing it on social probation for 1 year and requiring members to hire a resident advisor, calling this a course of corrective action that will ensure the Alpha Alpha chapter at UNC Chapel Hill is in compliance with national standards and values. The social probation means the fraternity will be allowed to recruit new members and participate in the rush process. It cannot hold parties at the house or participate in any type of hazing or new member activity, the reason the chapter was suspended back in November. Carrboro police haven't ruled out hazing as a possible factor in the death of David Shannon, the Chi Phi pledge who had a blood alcohol level of 0.22 when he fell 30 feet to his death at this concrete plant. Officials say the suspension is not related to Shannon's death. Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs Winston Crisp says the university's policy is clear and there is, quote, zero tolerance for any actions taken by groups or individuals that put the health, safety, and well-being of students at risk. And I spoke with the foundation that owns the house, and they say that they're pleased with the actions of Chi Phi National. Back to you guys in the studio.
That was Landon Dowdy reporting live.
You do this every day. You may even be doing it right now. But watch out. We'll tell you why coming up.
Be sure to check out Carolina Week online at carolinaweek.org. Connect with us online by liking the Carolina Week Facebook page and following us on Twitter at Carolina Week UNC.
You didn't give up on sex. Don't give up on birth control either. There are more methods than you think. Find yours at bedsider.org.
I'm starving. What's for breakfast?
Guten Tag!
Johannes, Franz!
I bring you arts-enriched Raisinblams, fortified with increased test scores and creative problem-solving skills.
It's good!
And good for you.
Bobby? Susie?
Don't worry, that's just the power of the arts!
Feed your kids the arts. For 10 simple ways to learn how, visit americansforthearts.org.
Get caught buzz driving, and you could do some hard time.
Craig, knock it off.
Sorry, Mom.
It could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And that could set you back a few years. Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving.
WhatsApp? No, not WhatsApp. WhatsApp. It's a mobile messaging service, and it's making headlines after Facebook bought the company for $19 billion.
You heard that right, $19 billion with a B. But what makes WhatsApp worth such a hefty sum? Megan Hahn has the story.
And then here she sent me a picture of a shirt because I taught her what YOLO meant when I was there.
Sarah Shafty says WhatsApp made her life easier while studying abroad. She used the app to communicate with friends and family while in Spain.
I think my Spanish exchange student told me about WhatsApp. She asked me, do you have WhatsApp? And I said, I told her I didn't know what it was. It didn't occur to me that texting would cost them money, I guess, because iMessaging is free.
WhatsApp is a mobile messaging application for smartphones that allows you to text and send pictures and videos through Wi-Fi. The app is popular in countries where traditional SMS text messaging is costly.
I think I downloaded it for like 99 cents, and I felt like that was worth it to talk to my friends because it was less annoying than Facebook messaging or emailing or anything.
But what makes WhatsApp so popular? WhatsApp allows users to communicate through their phones rather than the computer-based system that Skype and other instant messaging applications use.
So as soon as my friend or myself would get Wi-Fi and we would see that each other went online, we would both freak out and be so excited to talk to each other and start texting each other like a mile a minute.
John Clark is the executive director of Reese News Lab and teaches journalism at UNC. He says he wasn't surprised Facebook bought WhatsApp.
From Zuckerberg's standpoint, I got to believe, he's looking at it as a defensive play. It's kind of like, okay, I can buy it now and get in that game.
WhatsApp's 450 million users grew by about 800,000 within hours after Facebook announced it was buying the company. It's one of the fastest growing companies, adding nearly 1 million new users per day.
Here she sent me pictures of Valencia in the Festival of Fallas.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Megan Hahn.
And speaking of using that smartphone, you might want to think twice when you're using WhatsApp and other devices. Cruz Santabanez tells us why.
A sophomore in high school, Marvin Long was diagnosed with de Quervain's tenosynovitis, an ailment that can lead to arthritis. Symptoms include the swelling of tendons on the side of the wrist at the base of the thumb. Experts say it's a medical condition that can be caused by repetitive motion, like texting and playing video games.
I wouldn't want to text at all. I didn't want to play video games anymore because, I couldn't lift a cup. I could barely lift a pencil. So my whole way of life was starting to change.
Long says he'd play video games twice a week for about 30 minutes to an hour and would send an average of 3 to 4 messages per day. Not enough, he thought, to develop this problem. Dr. William Huff is an orthopedic surgeon.
Although I've never read a study that conclusively showed that using your thumbs or using your fingers for these social media devices like iPads, cell phones, texting, and video games has been conclusively shown to cause arthritis. I believe it's fairly well accepted that there's an increase in the number of these overuse injuries in young people.
Dr. Huff says that while texting can contribute to the syndrome, there are other causes. They include racket sports, repetitive typing, gripping, clinching, pinching, and ringing. To know if you have de Quervain's tenosynovitis, there's a simple physical exam, the Finkelstein test. Make a fist with your thumb inside. Bend your fist towards your little finger. If you experience intense pain right here, the kind that brings tears to your eyes, you may have de Quervain's tenosynovitis. Long says he wishes he would have done things differently.
I would have sworn off video games, sworn off texting.
In Chapel Hill, I'm Cruz Santabanez.
If you're trying to fulfill those Gen Ed requirements or get ahead in your major, you might be thinking about summer school. Registration began this week, and you can register for classes through Connect Carolina. There are 3 different sessions to choose from, and classes are offered from the middle of May until the end of July. For more information, go to summerschool.unc.edu. And before you can start thinking about the summer, you've got to get through spring. Doesn't feel like it, but spring's here, and that means more time outside. But for some 40 million Americans, that can mean itchy eyes and runny noses, allergies. Health and Science reporter Tang Ming explains why.
If you have allergies like UNC junior Jasmine Smith, spring may not be your best season.
So I get really watery eyes, they get itchy and red, my nose is constantly running, and then I get really bad headaches, feeling it, in my sinus pressure points. It's a really painful experience.
Allergy nurse Pat Shark says symptoms may be worse this year because of the long cold winter.
When it snows and it's very cold, it does is it waters the trees, and so that when it thaws, then there's a burst of pollen.
The body is exposed to a pollen in susceptible people. That will trigger an allergic reaction.
The trigger for Jasmine is the great outdoors.
I try to avoid outside as much as possible. I don't even like going to the mailbox when I know it's really bad outside.
Here's some tips to avoid allergy attacks. Close windows. Keep your living space clean. And shower after coming home to wash off pollen. If an attack is coming on, antihistamines will help. In Chapel Hill, I'm Tang Ming.
Pretty crazy.
It might have looked like spring today, but it certainly didn't feel like it. Meteorologist Katie McGee is coming up next to tell us what we can expect.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
You wouldn't let money just blow out of your house. So when your AC or heater is on, make sure the doors, windows, and fireplace flue are shut tight. If you're headed out, turn down the AC or lower the heat by 10 degrees. And always keep your water heater set at 120. A little bit of common sense goes a long way. Get more great tips at energysaver.gov.
This song was created with heartbeats of children in need. Find out how it can help frontline health workers bring hope to millions of children at everybeatmatters.org.
Good evening, I'm meteorologist Katie McGee, and welcome back to Carolina Week. Now, I've lived in North Carolina for a while, and it seems like this, as much as the cliche it sounds, is the biggest weather roller coaster we've had so far in quite some time. Now, today we saw a high of 45 degrees and a low of 34 degrees this morning. And we do have a wind right now, currently 20 miles an hour from the northwest. So as you're driving home from school or work, definitely be careful. That can jerk your car around, and also watch out for falling trees or rocks wherever you're driving about. Now, with all of this weather madness going on, we kind of forget what exactly is normal for this time of year. Well, our average high is 66 degrees Fahrenheit, average low 42. Now, it seems like forever since we've seen anything at 66, and I'll tell you, so far this year, we haven't seen more than 3 days in a row above the average high. That's how much this weather has been fluctuating so far. An average low of 42, we will be significantly lower than that tonight. More on that up ahead. But just right now for North Carolina, we can see this beautiful cyclone that's offshore in the Atlantic Ocean, northern Atlantic Ocean. But over North Carolina right now, we have these clear skies, and for that we have to thank a high pressure system. Again, sinking air doesn't allow for air to rise up and form clouds, and they also have clockwise motions around them. So that's going to bring down that northwesterly wind, which is what's going to give us such a big shake in the car rides today. And those clear skies are really going to give us a kick tonight with all of that clear skies. We're not going to have that blanket layer of clouds over us, trapping that heat in. So it's all going to escape, getting us down to 27 degrees tonight. So if you are heading out, bundle up. And if you are trying to plant a garden or anything, make sure you cover it up because that could lead to some frost as well. Now, luckily, this will be the last cold morning because this high pressure system is going to move offshore, and that clockwise motion is going to bring up this warm, moist air from the southwest. But that's going to be more of a double-edged sword for us because we do have this pocket of rain to our west. That's going to move in. This cold, warm air is going to, or warm, moist air is going to move in, and that's going to add for a lot of convection, bringing some severe storms to our west. No severe storms over North Carolina, but we will see a rumble of thunder or two later on this weekend. That's not expected for tomorrow, though. We will have building clouds as that high pressure system moves offshore. Milder temperatures getting up to 58. Now, breaking tomorrow down just a little more for you so you know what to expect throughout the day. We're going to wake up still chilly from that cold weather tonight, 30 degrees. Noon, we're going to be around 50, and 4 p.m. will be up to 56. And tomorrow, Friday is when all that rain is expected to move in, which is bad news for the baseball game at Duke. First pitch at 6 p.m. It'll be rainy, and if we still have it at 8 p.m., it'll be rainy as well. And that's going to be the case for the start of the weekend. We can see a big chance for rain Friday, and then Saturday is when we're going to see all of those thunderstorms roll in, and then we will have a knockback of temperature down to 63 on Sunday, but we'll get back up to 68 on Monday with mostly sunny skies. So finally, beautiful weather for North Carolina.
I know, I definitely want some more than tomorrow with it being mild and nice in the evening. I want to go for a run.
Yeah, a good picnic day even.
Well, I guess we got to prepare for everything with all that variety.
Yeah, really. North Carolina for you, folks.
Thanks, Katie. It was the big day for Carolina football players, hoping to play in the pros.
The Scouts were in town, putting the players through the ringer. That story coming up in sports.
$7,000 high school students drop out every school day. Let's catch them before it's too late. To start helping students in your community, visit boostup.org.
Oh, those boys are much too much. Those boys are much too much. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We got the spirit. We're hot. We can't be stopped. We're going to beat them and bust them. Beat them.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life.
Let's get a little bit rowdy. R-O-W-D-Y.
Take time to be a dad today.
All those boys are much too much. Those boys.
Packers.
Viking.
Packers.
Viking.
Life.
Red state, blue state, vegan.
Carnivore.
We come from different places.
Uptown.
Downtown.
Night owl.
Early bird.
We come to different conclusions.
Half empty.
Half full.
But when we live united, we create real, lasting change in the building blocks of life. The education, income, and health of our communities, our families, even the person next to us.
Live united.
Real change won't happen without you. So give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Sign up at liveunited.org.
Welcome back to Carolina Week. I'm Nicole Carrboro. The men's basketball team is out of the NCAA tournament after a nail-biter against Iowa State. But there's hope for next year. Marcus Page has sent out this tweet. Time to move on and focus on improving this offseason. Next year has a chance to be special. Next year does have potential with star recruits Theo Pinson and Joel Berry coming in, and that tweet has a lot of people thinking Page intends to return for his junior season. Nothing yet from James Michael McAdoo. We're not sure which Tar Heels are going to the NBA draft just yet, but 13 former Tar Heels are hoping to head to the NFL draft. Those prospects took Navy Field on Tuesday for UNC's Pro Day. What if a scout from every NFL team in the country was watching you? No pressure, right? UNC's NFL Pro Day featured 13 players who think they're ready to take it to the next level, including the highly touted Eric Ebron, who was enjoying the attention.
Yeah, everything went great. 2 drops, no biggie. You know, it happens. You know, Jerry Rice even drops passes. No, I'm just kidding. But I just went out there and I tried and did my best. And hopefully, you know, I wowed the scouts.
The other players were thinking the same thing as they completed drills, including those players who had early exits this past season due to injuries. The last time quarterback Bryn Renner was on Navy Field was when he announced his season-ending shoulder injury.
I said before, I'm at a different state right now. I got a smile on my face and not tearing up as much. So it was just fun to be back on the practice field. And missing those 5 games really hurt, but it also motivated me.
Pro Day lasted around 4 hours as scouts and team reps worked individually with the players. When it was all said and done, one of the most impressive performances was that of tight end Eric Ebron, which doesn't surprise anybody. But I did hear some NFL analysts behind me saying that they think he solidified himself as a top 10 draft pick today. And though Ebron says he has no idea when he'll be drafted, he's already got a plan for that special moment.
Jump up out the chair, fix my tie, and walk to that stage and put on my hat.
Nothing but enjoying the many sets of eyes on him once again, this time as he joins the NFL. The NFL draft starts May 8th. UNC, Duke, and NC State all sent their men's and women's basketball teams to the NCAA tournament, but only one is still dancing. Our women's basketball team is on to the Sweet 16 after taking down Michigan State 62-53 last night in Carmichael Arena. One factor in Carolina's success was a home court advantage. So how did UNC prepare to host a weekend of NCAA contests at Carmichael? Ben Walsh has the story.
Chapel Hill is no stranger to hosting NCAA tournament games, hosting 2 in the last 3 years. Mark Kimmel, who works with UNC's Athletic Communications Office, believes this is due to the facilities available in Chapel Hill.
I think that we do a really good job of hosting, and we have the requirements that is needed to host an event like this.
Kimmel explained that in order to be a host city, one has to bid to the NCAA, similar to how cities bid for the Olympics.
A school that's interested in hosting will put a bid into the NCAA, and then if everything, the requirements that the NCAA requires to host an event like this, you're selected.
Hosting the games are beneficial for schools because it guarantees home field advantage for the first round and possibly the second round in the tournament.
You're playing in your home court, you're familiar with the surroundings, and so I think that's the main reason why you would bid on something like this.
Although having the match in Chapel Hill gives it an almost home game sort of feel, Kimmel said that the logistics are different to that of a regular season home game.
Make it a neutral site for everyone, so you can't have a whole lot of Carolina-specific graphics and Carolina, roster sheets and stuff that's specific to Carolina.
Despite the home field advantage, one young fan doesn't seem too worried.
I think it's going to be a good game. Go Spartans!
Looking at UNC's run this postseason, maybe Chapel Hill should be a host city every year. Reporting from Chapel Hill, I'm Ben Walsh.
Tar Heels travel to Stanford this weekend to take on top-seeded South Carolina. Well, I have to say, it was a bit of a bummer when the boys lost it, but the women could be going to the Elite Eight after this weekend.
This goes to show I love tournament season.
I'll be tuning in for this game. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you, guys.
Check this little girl out. She's breaking it down, and for a good cause. We have that coming up next.
This is the moment I knew. His future had no boundaries.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org.
Maybe he's really focused.
Hey, Michael. Michael. Maybe he likes spinning the wheels.
Maybe he just loves trucks.
Maybe he's just being a boy.
Preoccupation with objects is one early sign of autism. Learn the others today. The sooner it's diagnosed, the better.
Ever spend 24 hours on your feet? What about dancing for that long?
UNC students did just that this weekend, and they raised a little more than $500,000 doing so. Students filled Fetter Gym with the 16th annual UNC Dance Marathon. After vocal and musical performances and, of course, long hours of dancing, marathoners were excited to learn that they raised a record amount of money. Why did they do it? They say they did it for the kids. The cause raises money for North Carolina Children's Hospital. The night finished off in celebration, having some Tar Heels in tears and the others resting their heels.
Well, that does it for this edition of Carolina Week. Thanks for watching.
Good night.